Hello, everyone, and welcome to P.S.Etc. Politics and Spirit and More. I am Blue Star, and the message of today that I'd like to share is yes, we are entering 2020, and it's not only a time to renew our vision, but to acknowledge that we have perfect vision. So I'd like to put that affirmation out into the world, is that this year is the year that we perfect our vision. And I think as I watch the news and all the challenges that are happening in our nation, around the planet, we have lots of upheaval. And you can almost feel, it's very tangible. There is a, what's going to happen now? You know, when's the other shoe going to fall? But this is what I wanted to share with you. You know, as I do my studies and continue to research any kind of scriptures, philosophies, spiritual teachings, you know, I'm always looking for that grain of truth in each of those themes, is that spaciousness, and I spoke about this in one of my earlier sessions, that spaciousness that we need, the view of the eagle, okay, the greater view that looks over the planet. And we can do that in just, you know, just a moment, a second, a nanosecond in your imagination. Envision the entire planet, the beautiful blue planet that we live on, and just get that eagle's view. Look upon it, you know, and give it your best prayers and your best attention. But that spaciousness is a theme, and it's what's going to get us through every challenging moment. And sometimes change brings up fear in people. Any kind of change, you know, moving from one house to another, changing a relationship, a job. We get, you know, it's that unknown. And yet it happens all the time. It's part of the cycle. It's part of being human. And so if we step back and go, oh, okay, changes are upon us, and just take a moment to breathe and get, you know, relaxed with that, we can gain a better perspective, a better perception. And that too happens in a nanosecond. You can change your perception just like that. So the theme that I want to talk to is that in everything I read, when we come to, okay, you know, what about world peace? What about all the wars? You know, what about this? What about that? And it basically universally narrows down to the question of duality, the question of good and bad, right and wrong. And the truth is, from the eons and eons of scriptures and stories and recordings, duality is not going anywhere. It's part of the way we are functioning on the planet right now. But the thing that does change, the thing that we do have the power to change, is our relationship to duality. And that's where spaciousness is important. When we can step back and view the world from a greater view, the eagle's view, we have the ability and the potential to just detach somewhat from it. It doesn't mean that you stop being compassionate and caring about humanity or the planet or everyone on this planet. But what it does is, when you can just detach yourself slightly, you can start to see these are cycles. You can start to see that it's a positive and a negative. It's a polarity. And the only place that this comes to peace is when you can get calm and find that neutral place. And that when I read these studies, I think the significant message is that there's no vision of us coming up with yet another intellectual answer to the divisions and compartmentalization that happens amongst our civilizations. No. Every vision has been, until we go within and we know the potency of our higher self, our I am, until we come to that place where, yes, the ego becomes dormant and that we are self-governing, and we're self-governing with, yes, principles and virtues of compassion and caring and generosity and honesty and transparency. But this is an individual responsibility. When we start to see our world and ourselves from within, and we make peace there, then that's what changes consciousness. That's when the world can potentially change to one of peace. And so one of the things that is shared amongst the Syrian nation is that the battle that we see all around us, it's not going to be an intellectualized solution. The battle is within us. And when we can come to peace with absolutely every little aspect of ourselves, everything that we confront, that we struggle with, our self-doubts, our perhaps self-sabotage, our judgments, until we make peace within, then our contribution to the world isn't any different from anyone else. You know, we should only be the first one to throw the first stone. That's a good thing to listen to. It's like we can no longer look outside ourselves and think we're going to change with creating yet another compartment or even yet another government. And in truth, if we were all operating from our higher selves, our I am, and operating in the consciousness of equality and justice and trust and all those beautiful virtues that we all like to be around and that makes us comfortable, that we come to this place of self-governing. And in a sense, it's almost like an anarchy, but it's an anarchy that's successful. That when we acknowledge, we know the difference between right and wrong. When we acknowledge and make good choices that benefit the entire planet, we can have a lot more freedom than any kind of government system can offer. Democracy is an external, idealized way to give us as much freedom as we can. But we know in the end, we don't have that independent individual freedom. There are still going to be rules and guidelines. And we have agreed upon that. We agreed as a voting population to accept, okay, that rule, that regulation, that kind of serves. But when we really go within, we want to be self-regulated. But the truth is, we can't trust one another yet to be self-regulated because we haven't resolved our flaws. We haven't resolved our judgments. We haven't resolved our isms. And so, and then that spirals to diversity. We talk about embracing diversity. Diversity is within each one of us. So if we can't come to peace with all those isms within, all right, then it's a fabricated reality that's, protects the isms, creates diversity. We again adopt these rules and regulations because we can't trust that each of us are self-governing yet. We're not so sure we'll make the right decision. And so we have created these rules and regulations to we're kind of like children. Here, you'll play safer if we put this peripheral boundary around you. So in essence, even when we have a democracy, even when we feel that, wow, we've got some freedom, we really don't. And I think that's a truth we've always known. So then we make the best of it, is basically it. So anyway, 2020, this is our year to empower our vision. And my suggestion is go deeply within, keep working it here. And it's amazing because as you work here and you resolve and you let go of what no longer serves, you will readily see in your environment, your relationships, everywhere you go, you'll start to see the consciousness changes. And that's all we're asking for. The more and more of us that expand, the more and more of us that really go inside and take the time to find that spirit within. You know, remember, this country was founded upon "In God We Trust." Well, of course, God is within us, but we have to nurture and cultivate the higher beings that we are, because that is where we're heading. So that's my message for today. I want you to have the most spectacular, powerful, loving portal entrance into this new year. Remember 2020. Keep that vision clear. Empower 2020. And always know we are never alone, and that what we think and what we say and what we do, every iota of our molecules, it matters, because it does affect the ethereal realms that surround us all. So blessings, dear ones. I hope that I want to encourage you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then you'll be notified each time I post a new session. And please, in the YouTube, make comments. I would love to hear your feedback, you know, if you're being inspired, or if you have something to add to the conversation. And for those of you that would like to join me sometime in this session, let me know. And there's also an email for Full Bloom Productions in my YouTube description. You can write me an email, and I'd be happy to schedule you in. All right, ones, I love you, and I'll see you in the next P.S.Etc. Blessings. See you in 2020. Okay, so here we go.